The 6th of July 2018, Oxford and Collins Dictionaries accused with defamation of character under Acts 2013, as well as the law under the Serious Crime Bill under the Psychological Abuse Law, and also the Human Rights Acts under 2010. The black meaning which the Spanish and Portuguese thought up, which began to enter the mainstream around the year 1442, to mock, steal and enslave the Bantu Moors, Bantu Israelites and the Bantu African people, and Oxford and Collins dictionaries are still choosing to use, uphold, and are maintaining this use today. Therefore, this illustration is to highlight just how Oxford and Collins dictionaries are publicly printing explanations of profanities to mock and continue to discriminate the Bantu people. Here is just a small part of this extent, on which their examples is simply psychological abuse, and this abuse is on a huge worldwide scale. And if nothing is done, then this is set to continue under the radar of Oxford and Collins dictionaries forever. So let's begin. Now let's take a little look at the association with the word meaning, white. The history and the concept behind the word white for calling and naming certain people was thought up and created after the late 17th century. Prior to that date, history shows me that there was no such thing understood as the white race. These people was more commonly known as Europeans descent. The word white and its reason, however, was a trick, but it worked brilliantly. W, height, to mean I, E, with the first letter being W, or double, U, which is double, U, with height brought together, they made up and gave themselves the saying, white. And then the dictionary psychologically honoring white at the highest praise by association, saying that it is to be seen and understood as pure and righteous and in all things being good as the best that something can be, and dishonoring black to be seen and understood with evil as the lowest level of degrading depiction, along with feeling disgusting and to be despised in all aspects as the worst that something can be. Is this how the dictionary institutions really hoped I'd continue to understand how to view black and white on the flight of my life, thinking that white is high on top, the best, and that black is thought of and viewed as down below and the worst that something can be? It amazes me to think how far the dictionaries would go. Michael Jackson was right to sing about giving color a bad name. Morgan Freeman has said I am not black time and time again, to the greatest, Muhammad Ali, who fought for the very same. How long was the dictionaries hoping to get away with their psychological shameful disguise, to describe black, saying me, as dirt, and to let me look upon it with my eyes, even going as far to be putting it in the dictionaries that way too? Listen to how the Oxford Dictionary describes me and my kind as our race, and how we are all to think and act upon this view, even towards me, and my own race too. I am now going to be referencing from the Oxford Dictionary. These are their adjectives and synonyms for all to gain their descriptions of the word black, which states this.